Some guys just don't know when to quit. Remember that stand we saw on that activity from yesterday morning? This is it. We got down at shooting light last night, and in the 15 minutes it took to walk back, it already looked like this. It snowed all night. I saw 2 deer on my walk back here this morning, but they were farther up, both does. I bumped one of them. She ran across the road. The other one, I don't think was bothered. She was far enough up. That's the beauty about snow, though. If you guys get an opportunity to go out in the snow, go. And if there's a stand that you can see far off, you might want to consider that one. Who knows? I mean, we probably bump deer every day that we walk back there. I mean, it's a 15, 20-minute walk. The thing is, you can't see far up because you're just using, you're using low light. I use red light. I can see 3 feet in front of my face just so I don't trip over something. So, I didn't even need my light this morning. It was really cool. I forgot that's one of the other benefits of snow. Not only that you can see the deer from farther off, but that you don't really need to use a light. It's like a half moon right now. There's plenty of light because everything reflects. Stuff like this is why it's really nice when it snows, or when you can hunt when it's like fresh snow. Looks like a decent sized doe, so probably not worth going all Rambo on it, but it'd be fun. That's a pretty big deer. That's kind of tempting. That's kind of funny. They're even using the path that we cut to get back in and hunt. Walking literally here's where I got in. There's where they're walking. Go figure. just gotta get on the board, man. She was by herself. We said today is the day. We're gonna do it when there's snow on the ground. There's very little chance of not being able to recover. So we'll give her a few minutes. Just go check on her. It's been about 25, going on 30 minutes. So this is what we were sitting behind here. And that's called a ghost blind. Basically just reflects what's around you, so it works out really well with snow. So I just pushed it in a little bit. So I'm walking to the point of impact now. And so I did this out with my hand, and there it was right underneath there. Now the issue is we can see that we've got hair. That's the blade. You can see the hair on it there. So you know you gotta hit. Inspecting it a little bit closer, you can see there's a little bit of fat there. So it smells like deer. It doesn't smell like gut. There's nothing to indicate that we hit guts. This is a little trickier than I expected it to be in the snow. Typically, oh, here we go, some more hair here. See that? Typically, when you get a pass-through shot, what you wind up getting is this big blood trail that we were expecting to see through the snow, and I'm just not getting it. So it seems like that would be the point of impact, because that's when she jumped. You can see all this hair. Typically what you'd get here is like a kind of like a splatter, like a blood spatter, like you'd see at a crime scene. And I'm just going to take a few steps into these woods and see if we can spot anything that suggests what the quality of the shot was. I went like 70, 75 yards. I just kept looking up. I had an arrow knocked in case she was in there, because I was really confident in that shot. I just kept waiting to find something besides a little bit of hair and fat. Once I was able to determine her path of travel, went into this heavy stuff up here. I knew I needed to back off because there was a decent chance she was in there. Ilse was looking at the frame by frame from her camera angle, and that doe, she ducked the arrow pretty hard. So as you go frame by frame, you see my shot placement for a stationary target was not bad. That's where I wanted to put the arrow. I put the arrow where I wanted to put it. Unfortunately, the target moved and it wound up really high. So it's looking like it might be a non-lethal shot, which I guess would be better than, wounding her. But even with a gut shot, there's going to be something on the ground. There's nothing. Go take a look after our morning hunt and just make sure that we're not being irresponsible and leaving a wounded or dead animal out in the woods. So we're calling it early because we've already messed up enough stuff, and tomorrow's the start of gun season. The guys are getting down here tonight, so we don't want to mess it up any more than we already have.
Hey guys, so I'm just sitting here editing this footage, and I thought it was important to just do a quick recap of what happened on that shot on what we thought was like a 1.5-year-old to 2-year-old doe. Two things. First off, we discussed the shot placement, and I just wanted to dig in a little bit deeper on my thought process. I obviously had a lot of time to watch that deer, kind of go through my shot before I decided to take it. The first reason that I did decide to take it was, first off, yeah, we're almost 6 weeks into my season, and I had passed on like 12 deer at that point. However, all the deer that I had passed on were either young bucks or does that were being tailed by bucks, and in the presence of a lot of other does. So I let a lot of deer walk at that point, and that was starting to weigh on me, admittedly. Now, I took what I thought was a younger doe than would have been ideal, but the reason that I decided to take the shot, first off, was that I was really confident I would be able to recover her if I did take the shot, because of the snow on the ground. There's fresh snow, and the third reason I took that shot was because she was all by herself. You can see where Ilse was sitting was actually a slight quarter away, and I was actually to Ilse's right. So the angle was a little bit higher. It wasn't crazy. It was still totally manageable shot, especially at that distance. And I was pretty happy with my shot placement. We covered the frame by frame, and you see what I was thinking was I wanted to make sure that we got behind that shoulder with enough room, hopefully, to get past her on the other side. In fact, as the arrow hit, and we heard the arrow hit on camera, I was really confident that I was going to walk 40 to 50 yards into those woods and see a deer that had expired within a minute or two. Wasn't the case. As we said, the deer ducked the arrow pretty hard, and this is going to happen. I mean, it's really hard to anticipate, so we don't want to encourage you to try and anticipate that. It happens from time to time, guys. It's a little bit easier actually doing it from a tree stand because you've got that downward angle, so that's one more advantage to hunting from a tree stand. I was just itching to use that ground blind, and the snow gave us a really good opportunity to do that. Now, there is a second element to this that we haven't covered yet, because we uncovered it as we were repeatedly going through this footage, trying to make sure that the shot was in fact good. And looking at it multiple times, I realized this was actually not a doe, it was a young button buck. His antlers hadn't even poked through his skin yet. So when you talk about some of the reasons why a deer might be on edge, that's definitely one of them. At this time of year, as the does get ready to breed, they're going to sort of kick the younger yearling bucks out of the quote-unquote nest. And so that deer had probably not been on his own for very long. So this deer was already on edge, and that would also explain why he was by himself. In hindsight, this was actually the best possible outcome. As you guys have seen already, I've passed on a lot of bucks older and bigger than him. Of course, it wasn't my intention to take down an animal that probably lost his spots just in the last few months. So anyways, I just thought it was important to cover a couple bases with you guys and explain not only my thought process, but also some of the reasons why you may in the future see deer duck an arrow. Typically it's because they're on edge. Keep in mind, we had a little bit of movement with the camera. That's something that, in all likelihood, an older, more mature deer, seeing that kind of movement, that black spot behind the blind, just that much, if he or she is looking right at it, is probably enough to get it to flag and run away. We saw that reaction from him early on. This is a learning experience for me too, because I was actually surprised to see that deer stick around for as long as it had after it had seen the camera movement. So, I mean, as much as we're trying to educate people that are visiting this channel, we're learning, as we say, all the time while we're out in the woods. All I can say is, moving forward, if you're in a tree stand and the deer have no idea that you're present, there's really no reason to try and anticipate a deer ducking an arrow. To be honest, I was aiming for a double lung shot. In this particular case, had I gone for a hard shot, it probably still would have been double lung and lethal. I was being what I thought was extra cautious based on my confidence in my own shot. But all I can say is, moving forward, just always try to be ethical. Only take shots that you're really confident you can make. And inevitably, over the course of years or decades of hunting, you're going to experience something like this, and you're not going to be 100% happy with your shot placement. It's an element of the game. In this particular case, we followed up on that trail the following morning, continued for another 100 yards, didn't find any more hair, fat, or blood, which is great. That confirmed everything that we thought we saw in the video footage, which is this deer's going to be just fine. He's going to have some serious soreness on his back for a couple weeks, and probably a cool scar to show his friends, which is really the best possible result in my mind, given the information that we now have in hindsight.